Hi everyone. We'll go ahead and get started here in just a minute. Just want to give it a couple more minutes for people who are still joining. All right, we'll go ahead and kick things off. Hi everyone, and welcome to our May Client Success Session. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Paige Stanley, and I'm the brand ambassador here at ClickBid, and I'll be moderating today's session. This month, we're focusing on mastering the Butler, check-in, check-out, and event day tools. Today is really all about helping you confidently manage your event day from start to finish using the Butler. We know that event day can feel a little hectic once guests start arriving and as soon as checkout begins, so we wanted this session to focus on practical tools and processes that help everything run more smoothly. Whether you're planning for an upcoming event or just looking to improve your checkout or check-in or any of your processes, we'll be walking through a lot of really helpful event day tips and best practices today. As we go, feel free to drop questions into the chat at any time. Hannah's with us today and will be helping answer questions throughout the session. A quick look at what we're going to cover today. So we'll start with a quick intro, go over a few product updates, and then we'll spend most of our time in the live Butler training walkthrough with Kira. Then we'll wrap up with some time for questions at the end. I'm joined today by Kira, who will be leading our training. Kira is one of our account managers and works closely with clients on event setup, checkout flow, and event day management. So she'll be sharing a lot of really practical and helpful tips today. And again, Hannah's in the chat, answering questions as they come in. Before we jump into the training, I wanted to take a quick moment to highlight a few updates from our product team so you know what's coming. First, coming later this month on May 26th, we'll be releasing quick entry quantity-based items. So this makes it really easy to instantly add things like raffles, wine pulls, or quantity-based items directly into the bidder's cart through the Butler. We're also rolling out some landing page builder enhancements and giving you more customization to easier preview across your desktop, tablet, and mobile views. We also will be having some more integration upgrades coming out on May 26th. Then looking ahead to June 22nd, we'll have some updates around item packaging and instant payouts through Stripe. A little further out, we'll be continuing to work on things like the ticket page revamp and additional upgrades. So as always, a lot of these updates are based on your guys' feedback, so we really appreciate you sharing ideas and suggestions with us. All right, we're going to get into the main point of today. Kira's going to walk us through the Butler and the bidder checkout tools, focusing specifically on how to manage your event day efficiently from check-in all the way to checkout. Before I hand things over, just a quick overview of what she'll be covering. She's going to cover things like batch processing, the 3 different checkout methods, merging bidders, and changing bidder numbers. She'll also go through adding appeal donations, multi-live item sales, split payments, removing bids, ticketed bidders, and updating or adding cards during checkout. In addition, she'll review important information like processing fees, checkout options from phones, volunteer logins, and Butler login tools. So a lot of really practical hands-on event day tips for this session. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Kira right now for her to get started.
All right, thank you, Paige. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Right, so we're going to start by taking a look at a couple of setup components before we actually jump into the Butler. I'm going to start with creating a shared login for volunteers. So from your event homepage, if we click on Software Settings, Users, from this page, you can create a new user by clicking this button over here on the right-hand side. You could enter in volunteer login as the first and last name and then use any email address that you'd like. When you click create user, it will send an email to set up a password for that account. And then once that is created, it will appear right here. We'll just click on this one for example. And once that account or profile exists, you can limit the permissions that are available for that profile. So if you wanted to give them just permissions for the Butler, you can scroll down and find the Butler permissions and select that. And you can have all of your volunteers log into that same account all at the same time for check-in across multiple devices. Then if we jump down to the auction settings, under the Butler settings, you will find the direct link to the Butler, which is cbo.io/Butler. So you can also access the Butler by clicking Event Central Butler, but using this direct link is recommended for event purposes since it bypasses the two-factor authentication and allows them to stay logged in for a longer period of time. And then if we scroll down from there, this is where you can set up the welcome text that goes out when you check someone in through the Butler. You'll see there's a few short codes up here that you can use to personalize it. And then down here is the actual text body where you can set up the text message. And again, like I said, this will go out once you physically check them into the event through the Butler. If we scroll down a bit further to the payment settings, in this area is where you can set up the credit card processing or admin fee. There is a 3.5% fee charged by Stripe for all credit card transactions, and we typically suggest that you enter 3.63 in here to ensure that you are not losing any pennies on the dollar for that fee. And then over on the right-hand side, you can allow guests to opt out by switching this to yes, or you can leave that set to no and require that that fee is included in their payment regardless. Down below that, you can choose whether guest checkout is enabled or disabled. So if you want them to be able to pay from their phones, you can set this to yes, or you can turn that off completely if you prefer to process everything on the back end, which we'll go through in a couple minutes as well. I'm now going to open up the Butler by clicking on Butler here under Event Central. And we're going to start with the check-in process. So you'll use the bidder lookup section up at the top, and you can search by last name or bidder number, whichever is easiest for you. I'm just going to type that in here. And then once you type that in and click search, it will bring up their profile right here. If everything looks good to go and their information is all up to date, you can just click the Check Bidder In button, and that will trigger the welcome text to go out that you set up in those settings. You can also update bidder information from this page, so maybe they don't have a phone number on file and they'll need one to log in, or like it shows here, I don't have a credit card listed, so you can also make changes to their bidder profile by clicking the edit pencil next to their name. You can update the bidder number here. So if you are having an event that includes a paddle raise or live auction and you want to assign those paddle numbers at check-in, you can make changes to the bidder number right here as you're handing them a paddle when they come through the door. You can just easily change that and click out of that field and it will auto save for you. And then down below, you can update the contact information if it's missing or needs correction. And then you can also add a credit card on file down below. My test account is not set up to do that, but you would easily be able to enter or update the card on file at this step. And once all the information is ready to go here, clicking complete in the upper right corner will check them in and trigger that welcome text to go out as well. We can also merge bidders from this page as well. So if you have a couple checking in who wants to share one profile and bid together, you can easily merge them down into one bidder profile by clicking on this Merge Bidders button. All you have to do is search the name of the bidder they would like to be merged with. And if we click on that and click Continue, it will bring up a combined profile with all of their information. So it'll show both first names. If they have the same last name, it will list that here. And if they have two separate last names, it will show both of them there as well. It will by default save the bidder number of the profile that you were making changes in initially when you went to merge them together. But again, you can click right into this field and change that as well if you're handing them a bidder paddle and changing that at the door. It will also keep both pieces of contact information on file for both individuals. So even though they have a merged or shared profile now, they can still both log into it independently with their email and phone number on file. And then all you have to do is click Merge Bidders down here, and it will combine those down into one profile with one shared bidder number. I'm going to go back to the Butler homepage here, and we're going to take a look at adding in paddle raise or fund a need donations. That will take place under the appeal section here. So you'll set up a donation type item in your list of items, and that will display under the appeal section here. If I click on fund a need or paddle raise, you'll see that it shows the custom amounts that I set up within that item. So you can customize these depending on what will be asked for during your event. And it's really easy to enter these in real time as paddles are going up in the air. So as the auctioneer announces the donation numbers, like they'll say $5,000, bidder number 90. All you have to do is type that in and click enter or click the save button, and it will add that donation to their cart for payment. So you can do that in real time pretty quickly as those donations are coming in, and it's pretty easy to keep up with in real time. Each of those bidder numbers will show down here below in the order that you entered them in. So if you have a second person writing them down on paper or you record it so that you can cross-reference at the end, you'll easily be able to follow in the order that they were said aloud and make sure that you didn't miss anything. If you accidentally entered in the wrong number and want to remove it, all you have to do is click the trash can icon next to that number, and it will remove the donation from their cart. If you miss a number in real time and you have the thermometer display up on the board and you want to make sure that the total is reflecting correctly, you can also click the placeholder button on the right-hand side for that donation amount, and it will update the total raised in real time without tying it to that specific bidder's profile if you missed the number. And then you can just cross-reference at the end and make sure that that gets updated with the correct bidder number and then remove that after the fact. And then you can just move down the line, go to the next amount, and enter them in the same way. And then at the very bottom, there will always be a custom amount field too. If you have a donation opportunity come up that was not one of your listed amounts, you can enter in that amount and the bidder number there as well. Coming back to the home page here of the Butler, we're now going to look at entering in the winners for live auction items. So this also takes place in the Add a Bid multi-sale section. I would typically suggest as the auctioneer is going through and rattling off the items, I usually would have the item pulled up here first that is currently being auctioned off, so you have that ready to go. And then you don't really need to pay attention to all of the bids that are coming in, but when they say, okay, item 101 sold to bidder number 90 for $700, you can enter in the bidder number, enter in the winning amount, and then click add bid to add that to their cart for payment and record them as the winner of that item. If you have a specific live auction item that you have multiple of, or you can sell more than one or two, you can do that using the same item without having to create a duplicate. So even if we wanted to sell this item 3 times, let's do that again. And let's say bidder number 100 also wants to have that for $700. You can enter in that bidder number and then the winning amount again and sell it to both of those individuals without actually having to create a second item in the system. All right. And then also in the add a bid multi-sale section, you have the ability to sell quantity items. So for example, if you're selling raffle tickets at the event and you want staff walking around doing that through the Butler, you can type in the name of the bidder who would like to purchase the raffle ticket, and then type in the name of the item. So we have a sample quantity item here, and then you can choose the amount that they would like to purchase. So within the items page, when I set up this quantity type item, I customized the amounts that would show here. So you can buy 1 for 25, 3 for 50, or 10 for 100. And if we click on this, then you'll just click add bid again, and it will add that quantity type item to their cart for payment as well. If someone bids on an item by mistake or maybe purchases a quantity item or adds it to their cart and they want to take that back or change their mind, they would never have the opportunity on their own to remove that bid from their cart, but you have the ability on the back end to do that a couple of different ways. You'll see over on the right-hand side here, there's a remove a bid section, and in this area, you'll look it up by item. So if we wanted to, for example, remove the quantity item from my cart, you'll just pull up the item here, click look up, and it will show you all of the bid history or purchase history on that item. And you can click the red X to remove that bid from the item there. Or you can do it from the individual's bid history. So you can look it up by name. And then over on the right-hand side, you'll see a blue history button. If I click on that, you'll see my entire bid history for every item in the system. And then again, you can just click on the red X there to remove that from their cart. And I'm going to go back to the main page here. And then we're going to look at a couple of different options for checkout. So you can do individual checkout through the Butler. You can batch process all of the cards on file at one time, or you can allow bidders to self-checkout. You can also do a combination of all three of those if you'd like to. We'll walk through bidder checkout in the Butler first. So you'll use the bidder lookup section up here at the top. And then again, just type in the name or bidder number. And then you'll see a red checkout button over on the right-hand side if they have items that they've purchased or bid on that have closed and they're ready for payment. When we click on that, you'll see every item listed in their cart. And if they want to pay for everything at once, all of these will be selected by default. Or maybe they want to split it between a couple of different payment methods. So if I wanted to pay for this $5,000 donation via check, but everything else on a card, you could select these two items together and then choose the credit card option down here and process that transaction there, and then come back into the checkout and select just this option or this item, and then choose check payment and complete checkout and check that out another way. So you can break it down between different items and pay for different components with different payment methods if they'd like to. And then you'll see down here as well, if they do pay via check, you have a field to enter in the check number as well for reference. And then, like I said, bidders have the option to self-checkout if you have that enabled. So they can easily just click on the shopping cart up on their screen and process payment that way. Or if you have the silent auction winning text message set up, they can just tap on that link to make payment there as well. The final option for checkout is batch processing. So for that, we'll go back to the admin. And if we click on Event Central, Event Payments, you'll see the unpaid checkouts drop down here, and you'll see every bidder listed with items in their cart to pay for. And you can use this checkbox up at the top to select everyone all together, or you can select a few individuals at a time. And then it will default to credit card. And if you click batch process over on the right hand side, that will process the card on file for all of those individuals. You can also, if you'll see this drop down here, you can also batch process things as cash or check. So if you had a few people drop off a check, you could go through your list of unpaid bidders, select those individuals, and then you click check and batch process that as well to mark all of those individuals as paid via check all at one time. Right, that wraps up the basics for Butler training. And now I think we're going to open it up for some questions.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kira. That was a great walkthrough. We'll open it up for questions now. We're gonna, in case Kira needs to kind of walk through some questions, we'll leave her screen up. But please continue to use the chat to submit questions. Hannah has been answering questions throughout the session, so we might pull some of those and answer live that any questions that we think anyone can benefit from the discussion. So we'll go through as many as we can in the next few minutes here. If something comes to mind, feel free to ask. We're happy to help.
Yeah, I was able to assist with a majority of those questions via chat, so thank you for submitting all of those. We did have one question from Megan Santee that I just wanted to verify we had the correct area that she was referring to. I believe it may have been regarding batch processing, but she had asked, I may have missed this, but the specific checkout function available for silent auctions and slash or if we do not allow self-checkout. I believe she was referring to batch processing.
Yeah, that is a great point. I did kind of skip over that. So if we go back to Event Central, Event Payments, and then drop down to the unpaid checkouts, it will require that you completely disable guest checkout to be able to batch process everything on file. But yes, if you choose not to allow guest checkout and you just want to process everything in the back end, that would be done from this area here. And if you're doing a combination and you want to allow as many people as are willing to log on and make payment on their own, you would then be required to disable guest checkout before processing the remaining cards on file in this area here. Does that cover that question?
Yeah, I believe that that does. We do have quite a few questions kind of coming in now here as well, so thank you for dropping those in the chat. One other question about batch processing, it looks like. When we batch process, the admin fee is always added. Where can the admin fee be turned off if you are going to be batch processing payment?
That is also a great question. I unfortunately don't have a merchant account set up within this test event, but from this screen here, when you're looking at the unpaid checkouts, there will be a checkbox up at the top that asks you if you want to charge the fee or if you want to bypass it. So it is all or nothing. So you'd have to either select it or deselect it for all of the cards that you're charging at one time. But you do have the option to not cover that if you don't want to charge that to the bidders.
Awesome, great. I have a couple other questions that I can answer here in the chat. Let me see. Christy, we can follow up with you regarding information on complimentary tickets. Just because we are trying to keep things a little bit more straight for the Butler today, we can follow up with you on that. We did have someone ask if we can demonstrate how to add an additional item, like a second live item for a secondary winner.
Yes, absolutely. So for live type items, you don't have to create a second item if you want to sell them all in one, but if for tracking purposes you want to separate them into multiple items, you can either add a new item or you can duplicate the item that already exists. So if we click on items, manage items, let's find the sample live item here. So if it's going to be the exact same item, you can duplicate it. You can select this checkbox here and then scroll down to the batch update section. And then if we click on the checkbox next to duplicate and then type that in to confirm, then we click update and it will create a copy of that item and tell you right here that it is a copy of that item number. And then you can click into it, make changes to the item name, whatever you'd like to update. Or you can add in a brand new item and start fresh here and enter in the information for that additional item as well.
I see a good question here from Wendy. So it says, if someone checks out from their phone, what do they receive? And will it be something that validates their purchase so we can give them that?
Absolutely.
Like just their.
Yeah, so let me go back to the Butler. So as soon as they check out from their phone, they will receive an emailed statement or receipt instantly, so they can show that to you for proof of payment. But also, if we click on, or if we type in their name and click search up here, you'll also see the green paid items button right here. And let me check everything out in my cart so you can see the full value. All right, so let me go back in there. And then if I click on paid items, you can verify here as well that all of those items were paid for, and it'll let you know the method in which they paid. So from their phone, if they paid with their card, it will show you right there. So there's a couple different ways you can confirm. You can either look at the receipt that they have pulled up on their phone, or you can double check by opening up their bidder profile in the Butler and viewing the receipt there as well.
Awesome. Okay, I'm looking through some of these questions. A couple people that we'll reach out to regarding complimentary ticket information. Let me see here. Someone checks out from their phone. What do they receive, and will it be something that validates their purchase so we can give it to them?
Yes, yep, they'll receive an emailed receipt, and then you can confirm via that receipt or within the Butler that they paid for that item, and then you can hand out those items once you've confirmed that they've made payment.
Okay, perfect. All right, just making sure I'm not missing any. We had quite a few come in at the end here, so thank you for all of those questions.
Yeah, I see real quick a good one. So when you merge guests, I think I understand it to be that they can both sign in and bid into the system under their own login. And yes, that is correct. They can use their phone number and their email to log in, but it'd be on the same account while bidding. And looking through a couple more. Hannah, are there any more that you see, or are they some that you think we'll probably need to reach out afterwards?
Yeah, it's looking like we can reach out to some of you regarding some of the specific questions afterwards with some specific help there. Kira, do you happen to have an example of a paid checkout receipt that was processed via like check or cash or anything? We have someone who's asking for a sample.
Yeah, let me see really quick. I can actually just open it up. I was going to try to find the email. Okay, I am just going to bring over my Gmail screen really quick. So when I processed that check transaction, it sent me the receipt there, and then you can see the items that they paid for, and it will show all of that information there. And then this same statement is accessible. Oops, let me go back to the admin. If we go to manage bidders, you'll see the print statement button over here. And if we click on that, it will open up the same statement. You can ignore this. That's something I was testing earlier. But down here, you can see those same transactions, and that will match what is sent to them via email as well.
Awesome. We don't want to go over here with you guys' time as we respect that, but we'll definitely get back to some of those other questions. We'll take a look afterwards and have your account manager reach out. But yeah, thank you guys all so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you taking your time to be here. You'll receive an email shortly with the recording from today's session, so you can revisit at any time or share with your team. That email will also include a short survey. I think it's in like the bottom of it. It's kind of hidden, but if you feel like leaving your feedback, that'd be really helpful for us as these sessions, we want to make them as helpful as possible. So we definitely would love to hear your thoughts. And be sure to stay tuned for our next month's client success session. If there's a topic you would like to see us cover in the future, feel free to reach out to your account manager. We always appreciate those suggestions. So thank you everyone again. We hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and we'll get back to those questions that we haven't got to yet. So thank you everyone.